Welcome back to the labs. Congratulations to Haley Wright, Brandon, Jennifer, Harry, Allegra, Megan, R.A., Book Dragon, Sarah, and Shadramon. All of you guys were present, some of you for 1 day, some of you for 2, many of you for multiple days, though there was only 2 people who were there every single day of the event, and that is shout out to Jennifer and Allegra. You guys were there for every single day of the event, even if it was just for a little bit. So congrats to you guys. You guys succeeded in arriving at all dates, which is super, super cool. But thank you to everyone who participated. It was really fun. And I would like to hear a bit of feedback from you guys. What did you enjoy about the event? What did you think wasn't so great? If you had the ability to choose some different options for it, such as topics, time zone, etc., what would you prefer? I can't guarantee that I can make those things happen for the next one during Oban Festival, but I can certainly look into it. It's worth trying. So let me know down below what you would like to see in an event like this in the future. I would love to know. So May was a bit of a month. I kind of wanted to talk today about my reflections on how my first M.E.L event went. One of the reasons I wanted to do the M.E.L event was because as a full-time working person, the only times that I have the ability to write every single day for extended periods of time instead of just like a little half hour here, hour there, is vacation times, which are very few, far in between. There have been years where I didn't take any vacation whatsoever. But here in Japan, we do have 2 times of the year in which I have vacation. The Golden Week, which I just did for the M.E.L event over in May, and then Oban Festival, which is in August. So I am playing with the idea of doing this event again in August, but that's why the reflection is necessary. I want to see, like, did I get as much out of it as I wanted to, and as much as it took out of me? Like, is it equivalent exchange, essentially? I will say I'm actually kind of shocked about how low burnout actually was. I feel like the day-to-day it was a little bit more extreme, but the burnout the following week wasn't as bad as I initially anticipated. I would say there were about 3 or 4 days at the beginning of that week where I felt kind of out of it a little bit, but near the tail end of the week, I was coming back into it creatively a little bit, and I was getting better and already starting to do scripting and stuff like that, and that's kind of a sign for me that I'm not burnout. Because if I'm able to do scripts, if I'm able to stay on task and I'm naturally doing that, I'm not forcing myself to do it, then it means that I have recovered from burnout. However, there was a bit of a drawback on the daily. So after my stream would happen, you guys didn't see it, but after the stream would happen, I would be very physically drained. And I had 2 courses of action. The first one being I could try to like do my makeup, things like that, do filming to kind of force myself to stay awake so I could try to go to bed at a reasonable hour. Or I could take a nap. And that nap was like a siren call. It was really, really hard to avoid it. I think out of the 7 days, 4 of those days I ended up caving and taking a nap. So my sleep schedule was really wonky. But I was so bone tired. Like every single cell in my body was exhausted. It was so hard to stay conscious. I think it just has to come down to the fact that creatively I'm not used to expending that much energy creatively per day. Spending like anywhere between an hour or 2 hours max doing creative pursuits before I do like work, which I don't really consider creative. But overall, I'm really happy with it. My progress was also something I was really happy with. Initially, I was kind of down on myself because I didn't meet my higher goal. My higher goal was getting about halfway through the project. I barely missed that mark. I hit around chapter 13, like halfway through chapter 13 to be honest. So I was about 2 chapters off of my goal. My goal was to hit chapter 15. And now that I've had time to kind of sit with it, I'm actually really, really pleased with that progress. It's a lot of progress. Most importantly, a lot of the scenes I rewrote were incredibly necessary to rewrite. I'm really proud with the rewritten scenes. They're worlds better than the original. Things like scenes where I had the character just going from point A to point B to get to the next plot point. Instead, I had stumbling blocks and trials that the character has to face that I actually put in there, such as being chased by something more menacing, having that thing actually get a hit in, stuff like that. So there's actually more tension now in those scenes, so it's a lot stronger. What was interesting is what I reached for to use during the event. Okay, so I'm showing you guys what I used, not that paper, that's something else. I showed you guys what I'm using doing the event. So I, of course, had my notebook, which these are notes of when I did my read through of draft 1. So these were just like, these are notes on like, please do this, please fix this. But I also felt like it's hard for me to focus. So I ended up creating these like check sheets of the things that I need to remember to add. So I would read these, which are really messy, and then I would create a more organized checklist of these are the things to add, these are the things to take away per scene. And I was doing it on scrap pieces of paper, which is so stupid, because I have a journal for that. And here's the thing, I had used this journal to help me finish up draft 1, and the logs were working. I was logging a session and writing stuff like this down, and it was helping. And then for some reason, when I went into this M.E.L event, I collectively forgot this existed. So I ended up going back to scrap pieces of paper, some of which are lost. Like, I had another one of these. It's dead to the world. I don't know where it is. This is why you use a notebook, so you don't lose scraps of paper. So I need to return to this. So I went ahead and real quickly, I just threw together kind of a breaker in pages. So I know I'm on draft 2 now. Real quick, I just use a bunch of stickers just so it stands out and it's easy to flip to. It's actually kind of chonky, which is easy for me to flip to now, which is good. And I'll just start doing session logs, and I'll write this information in here so it stays in one place and I know where it is. Character chart things. These were really useful at random parts because I just stop and think, wait, this character feels a little off, and I'd come back to this as reference and I'd be like, yeah, they're a little off from like their center as a character. So this was actually really helpful. I do, however, need to make more of them. I've got some of the most major players, but I'm missing one of the major characters. I'm missing Kai. Kai's not in here. How in the world did I forget to put one of the major players in? I don't know, but I need to sit down and write her circle. So another thing that was kind of interesting is about halfway, not even halfway through, I feel like I was on day 2 when I was like, I really want some kind of tracking or something where I can like highlight or fill in how far I'm going. So I just very quickly made this on one of my older sheets of like the chapters in each individual scene and like highlighting the ones I've done so I can remember what scene I'm on. So since I did that, and that was really useful to me, I went ahead and I set up another one to be using for the coming months because, and this is the portion where I tell us where we're going, or at least where I'm going. Y'all free to join, that'd be lovely. But over the next 2 months, so by the time you guys are seeing this, this is June, I should be going live with Haley. We will be online live and doing sprints and stuff like that. The idea is every Wednesday, we might be swapping between channels, her channel and mine. We'll have to see. It's something that's still kind of in the works. The cool thing about that is I have a couple more months where I can try to make a little progress because it's only once a week. I'm going to get less stuff done, but that's something because I'm at the soggy middle bits. My major goal is just to get more progress done, get through more chapters, make some of those corrections. There's an aspect of my story I really want to start correcting quite a lot, and that is the setup for the villain or true villain arc. So there are 2 kind of possible villains. Whether or not they really are villains depends on your perception, but there are 2 villain-like characters. One of them is a known villain and is known from very early on in the book, and the other is an unknown. And the unknown needs a lot of nuance and working, and I've already kind of laid a lot of hints out, but I really need to finish ironing out the rest of that aspect of the villain because it's a little rough. I think the main problem I'm having is the inconsistencies within the character themselves, which I think are realistic. Pretty much what it is the villain did something bad, under the impression that it was the correct thing to be doing. At the same time, there's a part of them that knows that was not correct and they have no ground to actually stand on. And this is very accurate. Like when I talk to people who think they have a moral high ground, usually the more I talk to them, there's a place where they start becoming a little more aware of like, oh, I'm contradicting myself right now. I'm saying something stupid. But like they reach a point where they have to kind of decide whether they're going to keep going or if they're going to like pull back and self-reflect. And usually they just keep going because they're pride. And so I think I have to lean into pride a little heavier with this particular villain arc. But again, this is a villain that is hidden. Like the main character doesn't recognize this person as a villain at this time. They recognize them as an ally. So I'm kind of laying that groundwork of maybe feeling like there's a discomfort between the characters here or there, just enough to make you feel uncomfortable as a reader. As far as further goals, so past these next 2 months going into August, Oban Festival is the second week of August. Like, I'm pretty sure I am actually going to go through with it and do another M.E.L event. However, I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to keep the exact same structure I did this last time, where I have like structured topics and things like that, or if I'm going to completely deviate. This is where I open it up for you guys and what you guys thought. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope your time with us has been productive.